July the 8th, and it is 5:06, so we are going to go ahead and start the Tangipahoa Parish School Personnel Committee. Ms. Cindy, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Abrams?
Here.
Ms. Dominguez?
Present.
Mr. Piazza?
Here.
Ms. Richards? Mr. Toller?
Here. All right. Seeing as we have a quorum, we're going to go ahead and continue with item A under job descriptions. It looks like consider approval of the revised job description for district curriculum facilitator, literacy coach, Dr. Lisa Fussell.
Mr. Bobby Matthews.
Beautiful. Mr. Matthews. Here.
Good afternoon, you guys.
Good afternoon.
We have, what is A? I don't have the.
A is going to be consider approval for revised job description for district curriculum facilitator.
Okay.
And our screens are off, Miss Cindy. I don't know if that matters on our
Oh,
side.
if you will reach to the bottom right and you'll feel a little button. I'm so sorry, I
That's
forgot to
okay.
turn them on. And push it and turn them on.
It's all good now.
Okay. Bottom right. In the back.
Oh, in the
Right
back. Okay. There we go.
So for the job description for the district curriculum facilitator / literacy coach, the only amendment to that particular item, because it's an existing item, is that we want to change it from a 9-month to a 10-month employee, under terms of employment.
And this is a vacancy, right, Bobby? This is a vacancy, right, Lisa?
No, this is not a vacancy. We're just making this change because for this particular one, we have employees who are working on timesheets over the summer, so
I
we just
gotcha.
want to extend
Okay.
it to show the time that they actually work, as opposed to doing timesheets.
So it's cleaning up the job description?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Do I have a motion from the board?
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion by Ms. Abrams. Do I got a second? Sorry, Ms. Dominguez. Sorry. I was looking at Ms. Rob. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Toller.
So,
Any discussion? Ms.
so we're not hiring this, we're just addressing this
Yes.
job description.
That is correct.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none, go ahead and call a vote, Ms. Cindy. Please vote your devices.
Voting is open.
Yes for me, I'm still trying to get in.
Say yes.
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Cindy.
Motion carries.
All right, so we're going to go to item B, which is going to be consider approval to revise job description for literacy mentor for CLSD.
Yeah, this is a new grant that has been awarded by the state. CLSD grant refers to the Comprehensive Literacy State Development Grant, and it's basically a grant that's awarded by the state to address our literacy issues with our young people. It's a completely grant-funded position, so once the funds go away,
No, I was just trying
the
to.
position would
pull the
essentially go
screen up.
away.
Okay. Do I have a motion from someone on the board to adopt administration's recommendation?
I'll make a motion.
Motion is made by Ms. Dominguez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Toller. Any discussion?
Is this a vacancy? Is this a new hire? Is this?
This will be a new position, a new hire.
This will be a new hire, and so your advertisement will be?
We would have to advertise for this
Okay,
position.
And I see it's a 10-month too.
Yes.
And I just want to, again, say I'm very happy to see where it says grant-funded statement. That way everybody knows, hey, this grant dries up, we got to have a deeper conversation, because I know that has been an issue in the past where we've had some grants pay for certain positions and not others. And so thank y'all for putting that in there and saying that. Any other discussion? All right. Ms. Cindy, call for a vote. Please vote your side.
Voting is open.
Well, I'm not getting it, so yes.
I haven't voted.
Yes, Ms. Cindy.
Motion is carried.
That's going to bring us to item C, which is going to consider approval of the job description for Coordinator of Student Registration and Student Choice Options, Mr. Gary Porter.
If I may say, the next three positions is to fulfill our commitment in the court order to develop out the Office of Innovation. And these were three positions that were outlined in that. And this first one, C, is replacing Miss Maureen Therese, we never filled that vacancy because we were waiting for this Office of Innovation to get kicked off. And so that's a replacement there. And then we have the outreach person for the community, and then a professional development coordinator that focuses on family and community engagement. But Mr. Porter, I just want to explain to y'all, this fills his office out. And an office assistant is included in but we have a job description for that.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So what, is happening with, isn't Strader in there in that office?
Strader serves as, she's under federal programs, Title I, and she was serving at both, she was doing homebound as well as the parent advocate with the man in the portal. So yeah, these jobs this one job that's the community outreach would replace that title of that position.
So did she just move straight over to that, or you got to advertise?
We advertise, and anybody who wants to apply can apply. Yeah.
You want to do this one at a time?
Yeah, I was going to say, Mr. Porter, can you give us a description of for people who are watching who may not know, for the Coordinator of Student Registration and Student Choice? Can you tell us what that entails a little bit?
Yeah, so this position, again, it's not a new position. It is the position that Ms. Maureen Therese served in for the past several years, and it involves, making parents and our families aware of our school choices and the options that they have and the things that they can register for and transfers that they may be interested in.
All right, do I have a motion to adopt recommendations from the administration?
I'll make a motion to adopt student registration position.
Got a motion by Ms. Dominguez. Do I have a second? Got a second from Mr. Toller. Any discussion, any questions?
Question, there's no listing on the bottom of, is this a 12-month position, as well as the next two don't have a monthly deal on the
Right,
bottom?
the registration is a 12-month position.
Yeah, that was my question, too.
The registration, student registration choice.
Any other questions? Hearing none, Ms. Cindy, please call for a vote. Members, please vote your device.
Voting is open. Motion carries.
All right, that will bring us to item D, consider approval of the job description for Community Outreach Coordinator. Mr. Porter, can you give us an overview of this one, please?
Yes, as Ms. Stilley indicated, this was a position that was outlined in the court order, and it will be a position that will assist the new role of Assistant Superintendent of Innovation with the work of outreach in the communities to our families and our students.
So,
This would be a 12-month position as well,
Okay, that was,
coordinator.
that was my question. Yeah,
We'll add that to the,
well, I know on the, when we approved the Assistant Superintendent of Innovation paperwork, it just said Community Outreach Liaison, and I noticed that it did say coordinator, so I guess that's basically, the wording was before it said liaison, I think, so we're just doing it as coordinator to give it a more distinct title?
make sure it's a coordinator position on the pay scale,
Okay,
to be clear about it. Because
And
there's not a
and
liaison
Yeah.
column on the salary schedule.
okay, and a 12-month,
12-month, yeah.
okay.
all right, so let's get it on floor before we do any more discussion. Do I have a motion to adopt administration's
I'll
recommendation?
make a motion to accept.
Motion by Ms. Dominguez. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Toller. I do have a question. I just kind of wanted some clarification on it. I know we recently allowed for the Director of Communications for that new one we did. Is this person going to kind of coincide with that? Because I think a lot was outreach for them too, or is it, this is strictly going to be under the Innovation Office?
No, this position is under the Innovation Office, but it's going to focus, strictly on families, engaging them. It'll do the Resolve a Problem portal. So that's a portal that we have for parents and others to report issues that they may have. So this individual will check that on a daily basis. If a principal hadn't responded, they'll reach out to the principal and let them know that there's something in their portal box. If the principals, or it could be the principal's out, they'll talk to the assistant principal about that. They'll also work with, develop, this particular individual will actually work to develop a plan for a parent involvement and engagement plan for the district that then we follow, and then this individual would also work with school level parent involvement, engagement, points of contact in all of our 32 schools. So that would be another thing that this individual does. So they develop the plan, and then, not alone, but they lead that effort. And then they see that that plan is done in the district and in the schools. And it's more things about, how do we actively engage families in their child's education is what this is about.
So this also should check the box too for our strategic plan, where we
Yes.
had that public outreach and
Yeah.
to hold those community meetings for our stakeholders. That would fall under this person's
Yeah,
criteria as well.
community engagement meetings where, you're asking the public for their input on different things. Now, this individual would work closely with a district communication individual because, the communication piece. But they would take the lead on developing the plan, initiating, getting the plan done, and then also working with our schools, each school point of contact to make sure that schools are doing what they need to do on their end. Helping families, one of the things in here is like making sure families know the resources that we have around how they can help their kids in reading and math at home. There's lots of free resources. We email it, we'll put it on Facebook, but not everybody sees it that way. So this is another attempt to try to get that information out to families.
Well, I think it's great to have a detailed job description because we were doing this, but there was not like specifics. This is much more specifics that someone could actually follow and do the job, better, really, to have more something guidance, what we're looking for. Yeah.
And like I said, anytime we can get more resources to our parents and stakeholders and what we have to offer here, I'm all for it. Because like I said, the biggest game we play is trying to tell people what all we actually have to offer. I mean, we have a lot here that we offer, and people just think that it's very limited. So I'm glad to see this. Any other questions from the board?
Question here.
Mr. Anthony?
Just for the purposes of maybe saving some money, and I'm sure y'all thought this out, but this couldn't be done in a 9 or 10-month position? Do you think we need the summer to plan for, things that are going to be happening in the fall? The reason I'm asking is because the parents aren't going to be looking for, at least I don't think they will, learning resources over the summer more than likely, so.
Well, one of the things that we really do need to do is make sure that kids are a little bit engaged in the summer with some learning stuff because there's learning what they call summer loss. But the other thing is a lot of our, we do a lot of work with the community on like back to school bashes and they organize things like that. So this person could really take a lead in that, coordinating with Crime Stoppers or, coordinating with the city of Hammond and different municipalities on drives in the local communities. So that's why I think it would be a 12-month position.
Okay.
Would this position be someone that would, I guess what we're trying to do is continue to keep our enrollment, to gain enrollment, or people who maybe were going to an 8th grade in a private school to come to our schools in high school. Would this person work to try to incorporate those kind of people that are not in our system?
Kinda
To
like
try
we-
to recruit more or
Yeah,
less?
I think, any family that's in Tangipahoa Parish, whether
recruit,
they're in
yeah.
the private system or our system, I think that would be something this individual could do.
And then the summer, that's when they would really be doing that. And I think that's what Ms. Fazell had told me at one time, she would like to see that person engaging families to join us in the fall.
Yeah.
You know,
Kind of like what we do with Punchtoula eighth grade night for St. Joe's
Yeah.
and for them, but this would be somebody for the district that could initiate those
that
things.
would be good, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a lot of possibilities.
Any more questions from the boards? No? All right, hearing none, Ms. Cindy, please call for a vote. Members,
Voting is
please
open.
vote your device.
Yes, Ms. Cindy.
Motion carries.
All right, which leads us to our final agenda item, which is going to be E, consider approval for the job description for Professional Development Coordinator, Family and Community Engagement, Mr. Gary Porter.
Yeah, so this one also will be under the Office of Innovation, and it is an opportunity for clear and specified professional development for our schools to assist, as Ms. Stilley was saying earlier, about the work of involving parents, but also looking specifically at research-based practices that are being used to help educate and train our parents to be better involved in the day-to-day education of their boys and girls.
Do I have a motion from someone on the committee to accept the administration's recommendation?
So move.
Mr. Toller, do I have a second?
Second.
I got a second by Ms. Dominguez. Any questions? Any of the
One comment, and I support all these because I support our administration's ability to lead this system. But I do find it ironic that here we are adding 4 or 5 new positions, redoing one, right after dissolving 4 positions that should help us get more people in classrooms. We're quick to get rid of a plan that will hopefully put more butts in seats. But here we are adding on to the top with more people to engage with families and oversee curriculum. So just food for thought.
I'm just curious, Mr. Piazza, on this. So if, we already have professional development for our employees, for education, for their leadership, their CLUs. So this is going to be another professional development that our staff is going to have to do to learn how to family engage as well as engage our parents?
And another one added to the list.
Well, this particular position is focused on professional development, but it's around, it could be professional training for families too, like training parents to work with their kids around reading and math competencies and things like that as well. It's not just staff, but it could be, your whole trainings that work with families, grandparents, whoever's working with the children, letting them know the resources available and showing them that. Also with the staff, but the idea is that you would have, at every school, you would have a point of contact because, you have to kind of have a plan at a school on how you're going to engage families. And this individual could help train those, the staff at the school or the points of contact at a school on effective ways to do that, that's aligned to the plan that's developed.
This is a whole different department than Jill, who does it now.
Yeah, she does the academic,
Yeah.
like reading content, math content, those kinds of things.
So what would this one be, just for clarification? This one would
This-
entail,
Family and community engagement, and specifically engaging and teaching families, how to support the learning of their students, and then also how to teach schools, how to have effective interactions with families, like events and things like that.
and is this a 12-month, 10-month, 9-month?
12 months is what we were thinking on all these, actually.
Well,
Yeah.
so I'm going to voice my concern. It echoes a little of what Mr. Toller said too, and I say this all the time, when you look at our salary schedule, we have a lot of our money goes towards, salaries. I mean, we have a lot of employees that we have. And this year, I think among most, we've added a lot of people to the roster. And when I look at that, as a, somebody who looks at the budget and analyzes it, I worry for, when we have a grant that pays for something, of course we have a grant. When it's coming out of our pocket, I worry about that as a board member and as a steward of the money. I agree. I think we need somebody that can help, deal with, training parents. The thing is I think the one we just approved before this, I'd like to see how that kind of goes before I see this one. And I'm just saying from my point of view, because, I mean, it's kind of in the same wheelhouse. I know this one's doing a different role, but, I mean, is there anything in here that is going to really outline parents being able to gain resources that the other one couldn't do, is kind of what I'm asking. Could the one we just approved do something similar to what this person does without making a 12-month employee? Like maybe a 9-month I can see, but 12-month, I mean, you're extending that salary. And that's my main concern. Mr. Anthony?
Yeah. With positions like this, a lot of big companies have them. And my concern, and I'm not on the personnel committee, was there's really not any measurable, I don't feel like there's a benchmark to where you can measure these people's performance to see if they're reaching a certain threshold or a benchmark. And therefore, if they're not really adding anything to the system, we're just hiring 2 people that may or may not fulfill what it is that we're expecting them to do. So again, I'm not on the committee, but I'm kind of with Mr. Piazza. Do y'all think that, and let me ask the experts here, because y'all are the experts and I'm not, do y'all think that one person could possibly do both of these roles? And if it becomes necessary later to add another role because this one person's overloaded, could that be something that we decide at that point? So Mr. Porter, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, I'll add to what Ms. Stilley said about the position, because not only with the academic side of it, but also now we have the focus on our SEL curriculum that we are pushing and promoting. And I think this will be an opportunity for our parents, because so many of our parents, and we saw it a lot, specifically in our DRC, where parents are really struggling with issues that their boys and girls are having, and some of them have just presented that they're not equipped to deal with some of the issues, and they need different kinds of support. And I think in addition to the academic side of it, I believe that this position would also provide opportunities for PD in the SEL curriculum that is now one of the big rocks in our strategic plan.
I mean, I know that the family engagement piece, to me, it's a missing piece. When you look at, how do you move a big system? How do you improve academics? It's a puzzle piece. It's a lot of different pieces. It's not just one thing. And but I think that the family and the community engagement piece is a missing piece that we really haven't built out in our district. And even when we did our strategic plan and got input, even from surveys and face-to-face, that was a piece that the public felt like we needed to do more of. And it's not just having open house or having a math night, but it's really engaging with them and helping them see how they can help students in the classroom, their kids at school. And I think there'll be a plan for this that's developed that then these individuals will then put into action. But I do definitely think it's a missing piece of what we're doing. And, I think about, we know this, families that are highly engaged with their children's education, the kids do better in school, right? We know that. And so they're reading to them at home, they're doing those things that they need to do at home. And so the more we can engage our families in that process to help us, the better off we're going to be, because the teachers are overwhelmed and they can't do it alone. So somehow or another, we've got to figure out, and I think it's going to take people, to engage our families across Tangipahoa Parish and get them to have true ownership in their child's education. That's not going to be an easy task. That's just my
Do
opinion.
the teachers actually feel that relief, though? I mean, with one person, 2 people working through the district, trying to come up with these plans, kind of like what Mr. Anthony's saying, how do you tell what's effective and what's not effective? How does my wife come home and go, I feel much better today because now I have more families helping me in my, how do we judge that? How do we, because I've never heard a teacher before tell me they're glad to have the help from central office. You know, if anything, every time we get involved in a teacher's classroom, we're usually piling more stuff on them, not helping them out.
Well, I think, number one, we see the results of the best practices we put in place over the course of the 3 or 4 years we've been doing these things. I think this adds another piece into it, the family piece. And yeah, I think teachers will see a difference because when they're helping kids at home and they know how to access different programs for their kids, I think we're all going to see it and we're all going to feel it. Also, how do we measure it? Number one, student results. That's how we measure it. Number two, the panorama surveys that we do, which we survey families, we survey teachers, and we survey students. And we ask them questions that will help us know, is this really making a difference in the kids' education? So I think there are ways to measure it.
You know, can I say?
Yeah, Mr. Moore.
Yeah, I believe that, truly the only way to measure whether this is going to be effective or not is to follow the recommendation of the administration. They're looking for ways to, we've seen some improvement in the overall GPA of the schools in the parish. They're looking for ways to make it better. And it's great for us to scrutinize what they bring. We should, right? Because, we're all looking for where the dollars are spent, and we want to see them done. We want to see the dollars spent on something that's going to be effective. But I agree that every aspect of the student's learning experience, right? And that includes parents. And I know how difficult it is for parents to, and how frustrating it is for parents to not be able to help their children. So I understand all sides, and I see I see the rationale behind being concerned about it. I think everybody should be apprehensive about it. But unless we do things differently to make things better, they're not going to get better. So this doesn't have to be permanent, and you can always change it, but I think we should at least go with it, try something different to improve the overall operation of the school system.
And I think we do that. We look at what's working and what's not, and we make those adjustments as we go, throughout. So, yeah.
The biggest concern I see with that, and again, look, I commend, first, no matter how this vote goes, I commend the administration for bringing these things to the board and having the courage and ideas to try to do something different. The thing that worries me is, let's say we go on this train, we hire someone, and it's not working out, we're not getting the results, or we as a board is not doing it, that's still an individual responsible for that we either have to let go or figure out something different. And that's something that we in the past have not been very good at. I'm just going to be honest. As an administration, we haven't been good at that. That's my first concern. My second is a good example. A lot in Tick Fall, the Tall Bend area, you have a lot of kids who barely speak English. Their moms don't speak English. Is this person going to help those parents be able to learn with their kids? If you tell me yes, that is going to be one of their primary focuses, to get those parents to be able to function with their kids, I'm 100% on board, because I literally my wife had a student in her classroom, couldn't speak a lick of English. If it wasn't for the kid next to her that could speak English and Spanish, she was out of luck. And the sad thing is these parents don't know how to speak it, so they can't teach their kid how to do it. And so if this resource is going to help that particular family and group, I'm all for it, because we need way more of that. So for you to bring something to say we're going to engage parents and help them teach their kids, I'm all for it if that's going to fit within that wheelhouse and this is just not, and I'm going to say it in a very critical way, not just a smoke show where we say, hey, we got this person that's doing professional development, and then we do 1 or 2 courses over the summer or in the first part of the school year, and then we're done with this person for the next 6 months. If that's really what this position is going to be about, is engaging those parents and meeting their need where they are to help the kids where they are, I'm all on board. I just worry, like Mr. Anthony said, that there's no benchmark other than do we see the progress in the school scores? Because there's a lot of elements that go into that school score that might not be affected by this, you know, and that's my only real concern. But I appreciate bringing it to the board. I think if it's done correctly, I think that would be what I could get behind. But adding something, now I would ask this, I would like to see it as a 9-month to start. Let's look at it. If we do approve it, let's do it as a 9-month, and then if it's working or we're seeing that engagement, then we can bump it to a 12. I think that saves us on the finance side, and it gives us more, you know, goals to look at and say, hey, I think this is something really working. Let's add it.
How much money you think this is going to save, Joey, by reducing this position?
I mean, it saves a good bit when you look at retirement. Saves a big difference when you look at the retirement
Well, I mean,
numbers.
if the position lasts, but what if, you know, what if it does work and they have a plan to put this in place so that it does extend across the summer? I mean, educating
Then Mr.
parents over
Porter-
the summer would be easier than educating them during the school year.
Well, then Mr. Porter can come and say, hey, guys, look, we're seeing this. We want to bump this position to 12. And that guy just got a raise.
I don't consider this an issue that needs a concern of worrying about a salary of finance. I mean, we have much more serious issues that we need to be concerned about. But when the administration is asking for something to help improve the relationship between children and parents, parents and administration, if it's going to help, then we need to go at it. You know, I would think full speed or just leave it alone. And I can see objecting if you got something better to offer. You know, but just objecting because of a finance reason, you know, it's just not.
Well, it's not just a finance reason either. I think that the job description we just listed a few minutes ago could somehow entail that for a time being and see if it's productive. And if it's not, then we hire someone. And to kind of address that other concern about finances, all of these things revolve on each other. Finances help facilities. Finances help transportation. Finances, so these little bitty minuscule things add up when we're looking at positions. I mean, we've hired, at least to my knowledge, at least a whole bunch of people this year for new positions that adds to our salary schedule, which is great. And some of them have worked out extremely well, and they're helping our students and our staff and our communities. So I think they were great hires. I think they were good ideas. And I'm not saying this is not.
Success is going to cost something.
Yeah.
Right? And this is all about kids. This is all about educating children. This should be always be our number one concern. What is going to be the best way to better educate children?
Based on the finances that are available.
Can I offer an option for an edit?
Yes, Ms. Stilley, you have the floor.
One, we could, if you do it a 10-month, that would be 2 weeks before school and 2 weeks after. So, you know, you could do trainings 2 weeks after school and 2 weeks, you know, during the school year, obviously. But you could do them 2 weeks after school and 2 weeks, you know, before school. And then also I would add, which we have it on the other one, is bilingual proficiency preferred skill. Because I do think that's an important point. We do have an increasing Hispanic population in the district. So,
What would the savings be going from a 12 to a 10? Is it still a coordinator position?
yeah, it would be a 10-month coordinator position, but it would just be without 2 months of the salary.
Okay.
I don't know, I don't have the salary schedule in front of me, so I'm not sure what that
I'm not
would
sure
be.
on that number either. I know 12 to 9 is a big difference. I don't know 12 to 10, but I'm good with the 10.
We could, you know, if we saw it problematic, we could come back to the board and ask you to extend it to 11 or 12 if we felt like it needed.
Because that's my thing. We can go up. I just don't want to go down. I don't want to take someone, start them here, and then have to give them a pay decrease. You know, I'd rather say, hey, we can give them a pay increase. That's my only concern. But any other questions or any?
So to answer on the money, it's a 16% savings in the salary, but the health insurance is still 12 months, so it doesn't save you anything on health insurance.
If it's an $80,000 salary, that's quick math, 12 grand a year. I think we should save the 12 grand because we can use that on a facility personally.
Yep.
So.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and call this to point of order. Ms. Jenkins, please call for the vote. Members,
Voting is
please vote.
open.
We're going to go with a 10-month then.
10 months.
10
and
months.
bilingual proficiency it's preferred.
I'm good with that.
I do agree with that point. I thought we had it on there.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Porter. Thank you, Ms. Dilly, for all that information. Thank you, Mr. Porter. All right, with that being no things left on the agenda for personnel, we're going to go ahead and call this meeting adjourned. Thank you, guys.